Hey, community, here's what's brewing today.
Love is blind.
A strange loop.
And ask your aunties, act more mask. So get your cups ready for Minority Report. Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
It's Auntie Dewan.
And it's Auntie Jarrell.
She back. How you feeling, girl?
Yo, honestly, even right now, like my chest is tight and it's like the breathing is still very hard. But we're gonna get through this. We gonna get through it. I got my tea today. So last week your girl couldn't even sit up straight. She was down. Yeah. Yeah, I actually thought I had COVID because I was struggling to breathe. Like, this is how bad it was. I was like having panic attacks at night because not only could I not breathe through my nose, but I also couldn't breathe through my mouth because it was hard to swallow because my throat hurt too. So I was panicking because there was no air coming into my body. On top of that, I'm feeling pressure on my chest and pain in my chest when I breathe too. I was like, Fizz was watching me at night, like just double checking, making sure that I was okay.
Right.
And then I'm crying and I'm like tossing and turning. It was just
that's the worst when you're that sick. That's the worst.
Was boo-boo. Turned out to be bronchitis. So
bronchitis. She got the bronchitis.
The bronchitis.
Bronchitis got me.
She said,
bronchitis got me.
She said, I ran for my life.
Right.
Still a top 5 moment ever. It was like viral moments.
For real though.
I got the bronchitis. Oh well, I'm glad you're starting to feel a little better, boo. That's good.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. I love that you were watching. What was it? Married at First Sight?
No, Love is Blind.
The other one, Love is Blind. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody's been talking about that at work.
Girl, it's a mess.
This season, I don't know, where did they get these people from?
They found the right people this season.
No, they did not. Well, they found the right actors.
I was going to say, not the right people for love. They found the right people for mess.
The drama.
For the drama.
For
literally.
Drama.
Because I sit there and watch it, I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Any Asian dude don't work. Girl, full of it. Full of it.
Okay, Carell, here's the thing. All right, I know that you don't watch like a lot of TV shows, but this show ordinarily is just, it makes you feel all kinds of good and sweet and like love is in the air and da-da-da-da-da. Okay. But this season, I don't know. They didn't got these people from...
Not in the air no
they
more.
They didn't drug these people up from the rejects of the Jerry Springer show because just one scene of this one guy who's like this Asian guy, has this really deep voice and whatever. And I was like, oh, okay,
he cute too.
Real cute. Tall, cute, culture, da-da-da-da-da.
Dressed, ugh.
Ooh,
right.
Okay, I might just watch for that.
And I'm not giving anything away because there's all, like, if you watch this, if you are part of the Twitter fear and like you pay attention to all the chatter and whatnot, then you know it's already happened. But he was doing his confessional after he basically proposed to this chick, because basically you're in these two pods and you can only interact with a person through their voice. So you can't see what they look like. So that's why they say love is blind. So basically you're in these pods for a week. You have all these dates basically all day connecting with all these people. You're whittling it down to, the one person that you want to propose to, or that you hope propose to you. And then you have a choice. So he proposes to this one chick, she shoots him down. He's doing his confessional, and these shady producers kept the camera going. And this guy, I don't know what his motives were, but he was literally acting. So he's in there, he's got he's talking about how he's heartbroken, whatever. And he goes, hey, would you mind if we pause for a second? Did you stop rolling? Whatever. And they say, yeah, they didn't.
Of course not.
He gets out of his pocket eye drops and he's dropping his things in his eyes. And then he's like, you don't mind that I'm doing this, do you? And this producer says, no, if your eyes are itchy, you want to take care of that. So he's like, cool. And he does this. And then, so it looked like tears, and then they started rolling again, and he was saying, I've never cried so much in my life. I just poured my heart. So they basically shaded they didn't know that he was doing this, so they shaded the fuck out of him, because all of that stuff that he thought he was doing behind the scenes, they put that on blast. Mm-hmm. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Wait, so I'm confused. Oh, so he did the
crying. He was faking.
Cameras.
He was crying for the camera, faking it
with the teardrops.
With the teardrops.
What the fuck is the tears for?
Yeah,
he was crying he was doing his confessional,
and they filmed him doing the teardrops, and then him getting back into scene, talking about how sad he was, and the tears are rolling down.
Oh, he said.
Meanwhile, then we'd already seen him put the teardrops in his eyes.
I've never, in my whole time of watching reality TV, I've never in my life seen anything like this.
Oh my
shaded the fuck out of him. That there are some actors that go on these shows and da 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 da, but for it to be this blatant,
that's just one layer of the cake, okay? Because the actual people that all said yes, bitch, they all I mean, every single one. The only
how many
person.
episodes is it?
There's 6 episodes. There's 6 episodes right now.
Yeah, on the play.
I'm telling you, the only person right now that I think is genuinely in it is the black dude, SK. He's the only.
Wait, I agree with you, but it is only him.
It is only him, not the woman. It is only him. A girl. She is a mess.
When she said,
I expect for you to pay for your apartment and my apartment here in LA. She said, we're not going to move in together. We're going to keep our own places. She was like, we're going to keep our own places.
To be clear, he did say, well, he was, so it's being filmed in Austin,
Dallas right now. It's in Dallas.
Dallas. And he's moving 3 months after the filming stops. He's moving to, I think, California to go to Berkeley for grad school. So he's going to be in grad school for, I think, a year and a half or whatever. So, and he has a scholarship. So he has finances, but it's not his real-time job. So he's going to be tight. So he's like, yeah, I have to move to California. So we're going to have to do this long distance thing, da, 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 da. And she came out with this, well, I mean, if we're going to be living together, then I expect, you to take care of half of the bills. And I expect that,
First of all, she didn't even talk about living together. Squash that shit. She said we're gonna have our own places because we're not at a point of living together to begin with.
And I expect
she said there wanted to be a process. Yes. So she was like, so I still expect to be kept, and you gonna pay for half of my place.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah. Oh, maybe that's a spoiler alert. My bad.
No, it's not. No, it's not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler.
He's lovesick. He's lovesick.
Yeah.
Could y'all ever go on one of these shows?
I could
too.
I was honestly thinking about this. I was like, if it would be hard though, because I feel like gay people are very different. Like you could say you're about that love, but when they open them screens, you see the person, you're like, nope. Nope. I have feelings for you as a friend. Oh my goodness!
That would be good.
Look, and you see them, so you pretty much into it until you get to the altar where you decide if it's going to be a yes or I do or no.
Okay, so you still have at least a backup plan.
Right. So worst case is it's 21 days.
Right. Yeah. So basically, you spend a week in the pods to get engaged, and then if you get engaged, you get to see the other person. Okay. And then when you get to see the other person, and you still have the ability to
coin on like engagement rings and stuff.
no, the show does all that. The show does all that.
that.
Yeah, the show does all that. So, like you have these conversations, and probably by the third or fourth day, because I think they're in a pod for a week, then the producers will come to you and be like, hey, okay, if you want to propose to somebody, what do you want their ring to look like? And da 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 da. We have this much to spend, and da 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 da. So they take care of all that stuff. So then they're on opposite ends of a hallway, and then the double doors open up and they get to see each other for the first time after talking to each other. Now, if you can imagine,
do they be having funny reactions?
It's cute. Oh, it's real cute. It's like they a lot of them run towards each other. They kiss each other. Like it's cute.
Actually running.
But first of all, not them saying I love you after 7 days though, but like, oh, I love you. I can't, and I just be like,
but it's a microcosm experience. You're in a bubble, so like.
Yeah, they take your cell phones and everything too.
You don't have any distractions. So like the men all stay in the men's area. Like they live together. They live together. I don't know how this is gonna work for the gays. Girl, they have the tops and the bottoms separated or something. I don't know. But the men stay all in the men's pod, and then they come into individual pods to talk to the women, and then women stay together. So
the men's pod is almost like a frat house for black
basically,
guys.
and a sorority house.
And a sorority.
So they can socialize with one another while they're in the pod. They can compare
notes and stuff about, like that.
There'd be people, more than one people that are interested in somebody.
That like they all horned up in there. Ooh.
So
that's why I said that's where I'll be at. Oh,
where you sign me up at?
Right. Now Carell like, I can do it.
I'm on board.
I can do it. Let me see the shower situation first. But like I do love the idea of it, because if you really think about it, what they're doing is within 7 days they're removing all of the outside influences that otherwise would be distractions for people who are really looking to fall for somebody and build a genuine connection. So if you really think about it, like when you're dating somebody over a period of time, and if you were to add up all of that time for the first, let's say, month, it might equate to 8 hours a day times 7 days of, interacting with this person.
That's a good point. Point. I think the concept of the show is really dope. And I like the idea of taking away those outside distractors to allow you to really focus on the person that you're talking to, because, that's kind of how the whole thing about red flags, this year and the past year kind of came into play, the things that people miss because they were distracted by other things. And this really does eliminate it. The one thing that this season that I'm having the struggle with is you can see that the people that they picked all are living their traumas out on real time on TV through this show. And that's what's sad about it, is that everyone that they picked has some shit in their life that they have not processed or dealt with. And they are actually thinking, they truly are looking for love. They understand the concept of it, and they think they're going to benefit from the concept of it, but they haven't realized that they didn't do the work to be able to reap.
So it's
from
all
that.
Younger folks then. It's not like
I mean, there's the people in the 30s. There's the people in their 30s as well
30s.
too.
Okay.
I mean,
30s and
20s. Like it would be kind of dope to get like people maybe that were like widowed, or maybe like in their 50s. Like that would be kind of
that's a whole other show. That's a whole other show.
I mean, there still has to be a certain amount of an experience in life, I think, in order for this to work, because as we get older, baggage,
your situation is different.
You start to carry things with you, so they want them to have a little bit.
Be like, damn.
I think if that would happen, it would have to be an episode, because people at the age, they ain't got time for it. Like, I'm not dealing with this bullshit. You're not getting the whole series out of nobody in their 50s. And
come on now. You behind the screen, and all you hear is a voice, and this is a sexy voice, and you say, how old are you? Well, I was born in 1922. You be like, what the fuck? Do your teeth come out at night?
They do like the Luther.
I can't.
Back in my day when I went to school with Luther Vandross.
But no, like I feel like it could be like people maybe of that age, like if
they did a season,
I would love to see a season of more mature,
right.
Yes,
mature candidates. Then that would
not
be,
like
that would make
trying to get with the 20-year-olds.
But this one, I feel like, and I don't know, I mean, I think the one thing that's quite disappointing in some ways, but it's messy in another way, is that they are, to Jarrell's point, like everybody is, the production team, through the way that they're shooting and what they're choosing to air, right? Because they could have had the same circumstances in the previous season, where people had traumas and all that stuff, but they just may have chosen not to air that bit of detail. So we may be getting a different flavor this time because of what they're choosing to show. But like everybody got some stuff, and the thing that
and the families are crazy too.
Bonkers.
The mama was threatening and basically told nigga, you come up missing.
Oh, damn.
She said, I'm a safe thug, right?
That fingernail.
3 of it.
Yeah, this is season 3.
Season 3.
Are they getting to, like, because a lot of times with reality shows, it gets to a point where it just becomes like a beauty pageant. Mm-hmm. Are they getting, have they always been like the good looking people for all 3 seasons? Or was like the first season kind of a little more not as beauty pageanty?
I think it's pretty been mixed as far as looks.
It's average.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been.
There's a voluptuous, a beautiful, but kind of crazy voluptuous woman on this season.
Alexa, girl, she crazy.
She's crazy, and he don't know what he's getting himself into.
And she has. You know how you look at somebody, Carell, and they just got the crazy eyes where they just kind of look at you constantly like this. As they're talking to you like this, and she always kind of looks at you like this when she's talking to you.
And she says to him, she goes, I don't think you're ready for all of this. I don't think you're ready. She tells him, but he is so like into it, and it breaks my heart because he's just like you can tell that he's just a sweet Southern guy. And she's just like.
He's another dude. He's the other person that I like of the season.
Yeah,
is that dude because he's really invested. He's like, I just want you. Like, I'm just happy.
But that Mitch guy, who like just got out of a break. He just broke up with a girlfriend of I think 6 years.
No, he was divorced. He got divorced.
And she cheated on him. So he's coming into this with trust issues, real like on his sleeve, trust issue. It's just, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, Community. Y'all have to watch that. Y'all gonna have to watch that. Have y'all also seen that show on Netflix? From Scratch too with Zoe Saldana. Oh, it is so good. If you want a good boohoo, like feel good, like
it's a show or
real
movie?
It's a show. It's a limited series on Netflix, and it's about an interracial couple that falls in love. Zoe plays like this artist, and she goes and does like this study abroad in Italy and finds this beautiful Italian man.
Oh, it wasn't Demar.
Okay, come on now.
It wasn't Demar. She said, I just lived this fantasy. And then when I tell y'all, it's so good. I was literally like, and I was sick, so I had time on my hands, and I'm sitting here on the couch in pain, sobbing, and like I'm sick. And I can't be next to Fizz because I'm sick, and I just want to touch him, and I'm like, oh man, I just love you so much. Like the guy, the way he loves her in that show is like what you want out of love. But just someone that sees you for who you are, encourages you, uplifts you, pays attention to your little love languages, do those things, and just kind of shows up for you and just advocates for you. And I kid you not, that's my man. That is my man. That is exactly how Fizz is. And I just sat there and I was
Fizz ain't home right now.
I got me a good one.
Fizz is right off camera. Like, thought bitch.
He got the cue cards up actually right here on the outside. I got the cue cards on. I'm reading my lines.
Say my name, motherfucker.
He said, stop rolling the camera.
Right.
I cried so hard.
Not the chops.
Oh,
We're gonna have to carry that forward, honey.
Girl, we really
Just
are.
that and the 1 star.
One star. One star.
And you know what? That's funny. Like, shout out to the community though. The DMs this week from that last week's episode. They're like, oh, that's some haters. Okay, we left you a review. How do I leave you a review? So, community, continue to leave reviews.
Yes,
and subscribe
please.
and all that good stuff.
Yes.
But we thank you for sticking up for us, because whoever that hater was that left us a 1 star, y'all showing up.
That's just hateful. It's shady. It's just like
Right.
it's demotivating.
Right? It's like, you can at least give us a 2.
It was probably Elon Musk.
Oh Lord, we'll get to that. Before we get to him, vote. This episode comes out the Monday before like voting Tuesday. Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've said it the last few weeks. We've said it the entirety of our podcast how important it is to vote. This midterm is so critical. Like, it's insanity. And it's insane the amount of folks that believe in that the election was stolen last time, that believe in like not reality, you know, to be all the way frank with it, that are running and are leading these polls right now. This is literally like, I feel like this is such a major like fork in the road for the rest of our lives. And not to
Atlanta, y'all better show up. Atlanta, y'all better show up.
Yeah.
Telling you, don't leave Miss Abrams out there. Come on now.
Like, this is such a critical time frame. So please, I know the lines are probably going to be long. I know it's probably going to be cold in some areas. It might be rainy in some areas. Get out there and vote, please. Bring your neighbors. If they car break down, hop in my ride. I'll get you an Uber. Like, it's just too convenient now with technology to find ways and means to get to the places you need to be. Yeah. So don't let that be an excuse.
Hell, even here in Washington, I was hearing on the news today that we might lose the Democratic Senate seat here in Washington. It's a 1-point lead to the Republican out here, which they call that a political tie. So it's hot out here, y'all. Y'all just please show up wherever you are. You know, if y'all got to vote. Like, everybody ain't saying this for nothing. Let me just say that. You know, like, we're not saying vote just to, you know, waste air and time.
It's because it matters.
Like, it really does. There's a purpose behind it. Like, come on. And also, like, even if you vote, encourage other people too. You know, like, just if y'all are listening, go tell someone else. You know, use your platforms to share as well. Okay, motivate.
The first person I hear complaining about some fucked up legislation, the first thing I'm going to ask is, did you vote?
Did you vote?
Because if you didn't, I don't want to hear shit that you got to say. You can talk to the bricks.
You can kick rocks
and eat them. It's a wrap. You can't argue with somebody who doesn't exercise their rights. So now, if you can't vote because of, you know, felonies or whatever, that's a different situation. But I don't want to hear people complaining.
Scare you away from the polls too, because I've been seeing a lot in Atlanta. A lot of folks been posting how folks have been trying to vote early, and in Georgia, since the last election, they've put a law in place where anyone can contest if you're a true registered voter or not. And so like regular civilians could go contest saying, oh, Carell can't vote. I don't think he's a registered voter or whatever. And it gets to the polling place and you get there and you see this contention on your name. And a lot of folks are getting confused on like, wait, no, I'm a legal voter, et cetera, et cetera. And they don't know what the next steps are. And so by the end of this episode, I'm going to look it up. There's like certain things you could potentially call and things like that, but fight. You know what? Tell that person, I'll be like, nope, here's my voter registration information. Take everything that you need to these polls so they can't shoo you away just because of confusion and things like that and contention. It's wild, the tactics that they're using right now. It's sad. We knew it was going to happen, but in reality, is deterring some folks from following through with their vote. So,
on a slightly different note, I just want to take a moment to do a little shout out to Marco and Tony from the Relationship Podcast. This past weekend, we got together with a bunch of other couples, and it was 12 of us, I want to say, and we went to upstate New York and rented out this lovely little big house, and then this little cabin that was out in the woods. And I didn't take nearly a single picture. I was just in veg and relaxation mode, and we all just had such a great time. And I just want to say thank you to them for coming out and being part of the whole thing. And they had a really good time. And it's really, and you guys know this, when you travel with friends, especially with friends, and you're mixing friend groups together, even though you have a really good relationships with these folks individually, you never know how everyone's going to mesh until it actually happens. And it was dope. It was just dope. We drank, we ate, we smoked, we did gummies, we watched movies, we hit the hot tub. It was amazing. So I'm so glad that the guys came out. It was lovely.
What's up, Marco and Tony?
Yeah.
Next time I want to come, shit.
He said, "Where's my invite at?"
That sounds like a good ass time.
Well, I'll invite you.
Can't blame Landon on this one.
Okay. And then I guess another one too. Crazy. All the stuff with Takeoff right now.
Well, hold on 1 second. Let's roll this back just a bit, because I saw your ass 2 days before I left. So it's not like
She said, "Hold on, wait."
I'm like, why wouldn't I have? Because bitch, we went to the Broadway show together.
Okay.
And then we stayed out till 2 o'clock in the morning together.
Tubs and
this bitch spent the night at my house.
And all that. I like that too. I would have saw you 2 more days later.
Greedy gumdrops over here.
That's okay.
He said, "I still want the invite though."
Oh wait, what was old dude's name that don't listen to podcasts? What was his name? Remember?
Oh, dude, that doesn't listen to podcasts.
Something from Hammond, Indiana. What was his name?
What was his
Justin?
name? Justin.
Justin,
like
that's
girl.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about that now. We'll save Takeoff for a little bit. So we got the opportunity to see a strange loop during the Black Queer Night that Bob the Drag Queen kind of spearheaded on Broadway there. And we're gonna do an episode with Landon because he was the other one that was here.
We'll do a whole breakdown later.
To kind of really do a breakdown of it. But teaser alert, go see it before it's done.
Yeah.
In January. It might be, and I don't say this shit at all about nothing, might be one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. This creatively, emotionally, all the leads. It takes a lot for me to kind of be just mouth agape of just creative shit, because after a while you kind of see everything's just kind of a retelling of everything. This was such a smart fucking play,
original, reflective of their Black experience, so referential. Just it was. We were, when. Okay, on this podcast, we all crack each other up and we're just falling out of our chairs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We were in the theater and it was uproarious. Yes. People were hands in the air, screaming, crying because they're laughing so hard.
DeJuan get hype.
Yeah,
because DeJuan was screaming. I was okay, she enjoyed herself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and to be in a room full of Black queers.
Yeah.
There's still quite a few white people there, and Bob at the end was just this is the first of hopefully many of Black queer nights, and he's okay, maybe almost Black queer nights, because there was still a lot of white folks there, but it just to be able to be yourself in a play like that, to have the squeals, to have the clapping, to have the yelling, to have the that's what people are like yelling back at the play. Like the entire experience was like I won't forget that the rest of my life. Honestly, I had never experienced something on that level before. And so we'll get into the details of it in another episode coming up here. But again, if you're able to see this play before it closes in January,
do it. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. I won't say that was the best thing that I ever saw, but it's up there. It is up there. It is by far the most unique. Broadway experience that I've ever had. It was the most reflective of a true Black queer experience. I'm really glad that I didn't know much about it.
Yeah, me
before, like I didn't know, like all I knew that was Black and queer, and I was like, I'm in, and so then I was just going to experience whatever it was. I'm so glad that I didn't, because I think had I did research on it and like listen to some of the songs or whatever and like watch YouTubes or whatever, I feel like I would have gone in there with certain kind of expectations. Right. And, we literally just like, all we heard was Bob the drag queen say, we're going to have a Black and queer night, show up. And then literally there's us, like within 30 minutes, tickets booked, like, and that was it. So it was just dope. Surprise and delight. Highly recommend if you're going to be in the New York City area. You will not be disappointed. 100%. And even if the only seats that you can get are in the back row, get them damn seats. Get those seats. It's really worth it. But at any rate, we had such a good time. We had to unpack. So we decided we were going to go to a bar, and we went to the Atlas Social Club, which is out in Hell's Kitchen. And we sat down by ourselves, just to we were in a corner by ourselves. We got a little drinks, and we just sat there, and we got visited. I don't even know how to it was like a tornado. It was like a tornado of like I don't know, dandelions.
So we're just sitting there, and this like tall, like kind of and he was kind of cute. Kind of like it was like one of those like, is he cute? Is he not cute? I don't know.
That's a no. If you gotta go like that, you gotta think about it.
No, it wasn't a no. But it was just like it was just so much going on that you're just like, oh my god, what is going on? So like he like comes to our table, and he's like, have you seen my little friend, my little Asian friend? And at first I
lost him.
Girl, like, why are you calling? Like, so I was already kind of like off put by the comment a little bit. So I was like, oh. And we're like,
and we couldn't figure out whether or not he was being truthful about the friend. Like, the way that he was saying it, it was almost kind of like, this is like what people say when they're out on the prowl and they're trying to break into like a group and trying to figure out which one of the people that they're going to like hit on, but they don't know. You know what I mean? Like it was one of them kind of,
like it had that kind of vibe. He was trying to flirt, but it wasn't a good flirt. And he was
right.
So we couldn't determine if like he was making this up, and like it sounded like it maybe was true. I don't know. But there was like maybe 15, 20 other people in this bar. So it's just like, okay,
it was
around
empty.
My homeboy. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't know. And the next thing you know, he just pwned it on up.
He sat down, put his drink down, just started talking to us. It was fine, but like we really wanted that time to just unpack what we just saw. So it was kind of like, well, we'll indulge this scenario because it's New York, and these kind of things happen in New York. You never know where these kind of things will take you, but also like we have all this like pent up from the show, all this energy that we as Black people just want to have and he's white, so like we just want to like get it. Landon wasn't having any of it. She sat there like this the whole time.
Devon and I were just like entertaining it because it was kind of funny or whatever, right? And it was just like he was just like this force of energy that you're just like, okay, either like, and I honestly felt like if we were going to be rude, it could have went left easy with him too,
Yeah.
And so we're like, hey, whatever. But yeah, Landon was not feeling it, whatever. At all. But yeah. And then out the blue, then he was like, okay. And then he was done. Put that scarf on and walked out the door. And we're like, Okay, bye.
Bye.
It was just a random New York night. That's what it turned into. But
Girl,
but
and
yeah,
before we
so
knew it was like 1:40.
Right, I know we did it. We ended up having a few more drinks than we planned. but no, it was a good night, and like the weather was perfect. So again, if you haven't seen A Strange Loop, or even if you have, like, I want to go see it again. See it before it closes, and it's sad that it's closing, but you know, it's going to lead to a lot of cool things for that entire cast and for the person that wrote this play and the choreography of this show. Everything, it was top notch. It was top notch.
Agreed.
Excuse me.
100%.
Damn, this show be going quick. Okay, we're 35 minutes in. Quickly, RIP to Takeoff from Migos. To the family. I mean, to his group mates were his family. It was his uncle and his cousin. Waking up to that this morning was weird. Like, it was eerie. And I didn't realize how young he still was. Because Migos been out here popping for the last decade. He was only 28. So that means, like, Bad and Bougie and Versace and everything, he was doing this shit in his teens, which is wild to think. But it almost sounds like it was just one of those typical things where people getting their feelings about stuff and pop off, and they think the best way is to shoot at each other. And, you know, so the whole situation is sad and could have completely been avoidable. So yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, I like Migos, and especially living in Atlanta the last 5 years before moving to Philly, they were just like all encompassing. It was like Migos future, Migos future, like everywhere. You know, like you couldn't escape any of their music or just their cultural being in that city.
Well, and they really had a presence and rap now too, because what do they call it? Triplets? Is that what they call it in the music? Like, you know, like like they really spearheaded that and revolutionized like how we listen to a lot of rap music these days. You know, and a lot of people don't know that, you know. So it's crazy. It's crazy. There was like, I actually watched this YouTube video on that, and that really just was like, I was like, damn. Like, and now I can just see, I can hear it in music like that now. I'm like,
everyone started rapping like Migos after that. Even though Migos kind of took it from 3 6 Mafia, we'll talk about that another day. But Takeoff was probably my favorite rapper in the group, honestly. Like, he was the one that I felt like was really a rapper. The rest of them were kind of like the showmen and things like that. Takeoff was like, okay, no, I'm gonna really be rapping. So yeah, no, and it's crazy too, like how many people started to share the video and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, why are we sharing this online like that, y'all? Like, this is insanity. So RIP to him. Sorry to and condolences to the family. Condolences to his group mates, which were his family, literally blood. This one's weird, and I don't know what else to say honestly about it. So
someone made a joke, and I said too soon, but someone's like, they got TLC'd, and I was like, no, that's not cool. Like,
wait, they got
TLC.
Oh no.
I was like,
can't.
No, I was like, nigga, ain't even been like 24 hours.
Not even. So, on that note, we'll take a quick little tea break. We interrupt this episode for very important information.
That's right. You've been asking for it for a long time, and we have heard you.
Yep, it's been a long time coming, but it's finally here.
Yo, aunties
got
merch! Hey! That's right. You know what? We got tees, we got long tees, we got sweatshirts, we got fanny packs, there's just a whole gamut of stuff out there, so go and check that out.
We are so appreciative of your love and support, and we are so excited to launch it. Girl, where can we find this at?
Ma'am, they can head right over to minorityReport.com to check out the selection.
That's right. That's MINORITEA report.com.
Woo! I'm about to go get me some myself.
Well,
Alrighty.
and actually, but before we do this, we
Uh-huh.
should make an announcement about our 200th episode.
Yes,
so that way we don't wait to the
yes,
end. So if you
yes.
want to go ahead and take it away,
Yes,
Miss
200.
Rail.
Which is crazy to say. So this episode you're listening to right now is 196. So literally in 4 episodes, we'll be celebrating our 200th episode, and we're going to do another live episode. So we want you guys, it's going to be literally the Tuesday after Thanksgiving weekend. So what is that, 11:30?
The 29th. The 29th. 11:29.
29. Yeah.
11:29. We will be live 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. You'll see the link in our bio. We'll put obviously some clips up and things like that to remind you. But come kick it with us for the 200th episode. We'd love to see you. We'll have people coming in and out the whole night of the episode. So if you have a question for us, we'll bring you into the room. So, get camera ready, get your wig ready, because I'm sure we'll probably rock a little wig.
Get some tequila. Oh, Taco Tuesday too. Let's do wigs and tequila. Wigs and tequila. Hey.
It's 200 episode. What the hell is that? That's
wild.
insane to say.
It's wild.
And honestly, it'll be like more than 200 because there's some in the bank that ain't ever gonna come out. There's some that we had a part B episode. So, but like officially title wise, 200 episodes. So November 29th, the Tuesday after the Thanksgiving long weekend. Save a little tequila for us for that day, and come back with your aunties. Come with any fresh, ask your aunties questions.
But there better be, because Thanksgiving was right before, so we want to hear about the family drama.
Yes.
Let us know who got kicked out, who fucked up the mac and cheese, who ain't invited to the Christmas gathering. Because if you fuck up at Thanksgiving, you ain't coming back. You can't show up at Thanksgiving.
That's a
wrap.
It's a wrap.
That is true. So yes, 11:29. Mark it on your calendar. 200th episode of Minority Report. Kick it with your aunties. All right, ladies. What time is it?
Ask your aunties.
Okay, who wants to read it?
Not me, because I can barely talk.
I got it. All right. Hey, aunties. I know you're all in relationships, but you need to think back. Did you ever feel pressure to act more mask than you actually are naturally? Not saying that you aren't or are. I find myself doing so at times and wonder if it's just me or others felt that, and excuse me, and what you've done to overcome that. Thanks. So the question is, did you ever feel the pressure to act
and stuff
more
like that?
mask?
Actually, I have the times that I do is not necessarily my relationship. It's been in like maybe work environments, where I'm like, all right, girl, you queen out a little bit too much, wheel in a little bit. You got to be a little bit more professional. Or sometimes when I'm around a bunch of Black folks, not queer Black folks, but just Black folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, wheel in just a little bit, because, some people still, have this old school way of thinking, and you're a Black man, so you got to be more masculine. So in those situations or scenarios, I tend to buck up a little bit, and just drop the voice a little bit, just kind of talk like this. And this is where my voice sits at, But other than that, this is how I sound like every day. So, it's just, you just got to be able to flip it a little bit. But within my relationship, no, honestly, I got a penis, he got a penis. That's mask enough. So.
Did you ever feel it like when you were dating though, like say if it was like a first date, did you ever feel like you had to maybe mask it up a little more to kind of fill them out?
Actually, I will say yes. In dating, I have felt like, and that's kind of like the whole thing, like even with like bottom shaming and stuff like that. Yeah. I feel like there's still this kind of shame towards, being too feminine, But let me tell you though, ain't nothing sexier than a femme top though. Let me tell you, I find a femme top, I'll be like, damn, bitch, you fine, But I will say that I've had people, but I felt like I've been judged on being maybe not so as masculine, you know, as far as how I act. But then when people understand that, oh, nigga could dunk, I can play all these sports, I can do all these things, like I'm athletic as fuck, then that's when people be like, oh, well, he's okay. You know, because that's, and I mean, that's how also, like, you know, growing up, that's was another way for me to also hang with a lot of straight dudes, you know, was to shut them up by putting up, like, well, guess what? My game speak for itself, you know. So I've always had to ball harder, so that way the straight dude couldn't be like, well, little fat can't play basketball, he can't run track, or he can't do this. So that's why I learned how to be so good at sports, to so that way I didn't have to have my masculinity ever questioned.
Yeah, like,
what about you, Carell?
Yeah, yeah. Not as much anymore. I feel like I got enough of that throughout for so many years. I'm like, I'm just gonna always show the or at least try to show more wider variety of me. Like Jarrell said, there are still moments where either at work or at the barbers, like now, like I'm back at a straight black barber shop where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna be like, okay, honey, because like I love a little honey moment, I love a little girl moment. So I almost gotta catch myself. Sometimes I slip out, like, girl. I'm like, oh wait, wrong environment, my bad. But I kind of like the yin and yang of myself. Like, I know I got a deep voice, I know all that stuff, you know. But then I like the moments where there is a little femininity moment and things like that. So I try not to harp on it too much anymore, and just try to be as much as I can. But there are still situations where you're like, okay, you're still filling out the environment, and maybe your go-to is to calm it down, maybe code switch a little, maybe deepen the voice a little, maybe whatever it may be. That is maybe a guard for, you know, just, or maybe a defense mechanism still, that you just knew you had to do growing up sometimes, that still kind of just naturally comes out, because you just know, like Jarrell said, that there's still some folks that are still stuck in this masculinity versus femininity thing, and it has to present one way to them, when there's could be, like we preach on here, a spectrum of ways to be, and it doesn't mean you're more than or less than. So I try to keep that a lot of times now. And I know some people are like, oh, well, we heard your voice, and then you become with the toes painted, you'll have this on. And I'm like, yeah, like, you're like, get all of me, you know, like.
I bet they do.
Right.
Hey, we'll say that for another episode. No, I say something too bold. Never mind. But yeah, like, so I mean, I think it's natural, especially, and I was trying to think back just like when this came in, because it sounds like it's kind of more in a relationship setting of dating. Again, sometimes in that first date, you're still trying to figure it out, and sometimes the default might be, okay, let me mask it up first. Oh, okay, great. Okay, you got the little queen moment too. Okay, let me loosen up now, kind of thing. Or even like situations in the gay, like you have like all these tropes and things within the gay community, and you do see where the mask for mask and things like that, and sometimes if you show that you have maybe a little queen moment, it might rub people the wrong way. And even then I'm like, okay, then you're not going to be part of my tribe. You're like, I don't want that. I don't want to feel like I have to put on anymore. Did that for so long that it is what it is. So long, that was a long-winded answer, but yes, I think it's natural to still kind of feel some of that because of defense mechanisms and trying to just survive in certain situations. But I think as you get older and in more situations, you realize the folks that matter are going to accept all the variation of you.
Yeah. I kind of feel like we all have both masculine and feminine traits. You know, and yeah, my personal experience is I feel like more of my feminine traits come out as almost a reflection of endearment. So like, you know, usually if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, I'm not girling them off the bat because I don't know you like that. Just like, you ain't my girl.
That's a real statement. That is a real statement.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know how you act. So
You said
like,
hello.
I'm not.
How?
You know, so like, you know, like if I put if I think back to like dating, yeah, I let me put it this way. I don't think I've ever felt the pressure to act more masculine because I ain't got the goods to back it up. I'm sorry. Like, I don't play sports. I play tennis. You know, I draw. You know, like, I like to go shopping. You know, I like sipping cocktails. Like,
sound like a good day to me too.
You know, so
Right.
you know, so like, I mean, it's not like it's not going to be this situation where like I'm faking my way and like, oh yeah, did you see the game last night and da da da, like all these, you know, quote unquote masculine things. Now I get the notion of like, oh, you know, butching up your voice a little bit and, you know, like not having as much of a twitch in your walk or whatever. Like, I understand that. But I do think that part of, I'm not saying that those things should be hidden because, you know, you should be ashamed to like show, like, if that's how you walk, that's how you walk. But also I do feel like for me personally, a lot of those things are about comfort. You know, it's about me being comfortable. And, you know, there are going to be moments where like I'm skipping along, like, you know, like little Red Riding Hood. And there are going to be other moments where I'm, you know, I'm walking tough. Like, let it be 4:00 in the morning and I'm coming home from the train. Right. I'm not going to be scooting around like Wendy Williams, you know, in her high heels. It's not going to be happening. So I feel like there's a time and a place when you can and butch it up. I think where it becomes problematic is if you're going after people who prioritize a certain kind of projection of masculinity and that's not you, and you know that, and you're putting on an act because you want them to like you. I feel like that's a little problematic because you're setting yourself up for a situation that is only going to diminish who you are naturally. And that is never really a good situation to be in, and it's not sustainable. It's not a situation that in the long term is going to pan out for you.
Yeah. I think, you know, a good takeaway is, you know, don't be checking for people who ain't checking for you. You know, like if who you are at your natural resting state is not what someone's looking for, that means you are kind of like, to Dewan's point, you're changing for someone else, which is not gonna benefit you at the end of the day. You know,
so for you, then who's gonna check my boo?
Right. So, you know, I guess one thing I like to always suggest, you know, when we talk about people, when they talk about you know, they have a type or, you know, what they're into and stuff like that, you know, keep yourself available and open to a variety of different people. You know, maybe the issue is maybe the people that you are checking for aren't the people that align with who you are. And maybe you should be finding people who are more similar to what you're looking for and to who you are, and then accepting to who you are as well too. You know, so
there is some self-acceptance in that as well. You know, like loving the feminine aspects of your personality and allowing that to shine through. Like that is, it's one thing that most people will say is that confidence is key.
100%.
And if you're comfortable with who you are, like Beyonce says, cozy in that skin, you know, cozy with who I am, you know, like when you can accept all those aspects of yourself, it becomes easier to like not look for validation with other people or not butch it up, you know, so that other people will, you know, find you desirable or whatever. But to your question of, you know, like, does anybody else do this? Are you the only one that's doing it? No, you're not alone. You are not alone.
And let's keep in mind too, it be some of the masculine, most muscled people that be bent the fuck over, hooping and hollering, being like deeper, more, and getting turned the fuck out. So let's also keep that in mind too, that masculinity doesn't necessarily mean strength as well too, at all whatsoever. Like, And like y'all have gotten to know Fizz a lot more over the years and stuff like that. And when you first met Fizz, he is a quiet, very reserved, very masculine kind of passive person.
He dropped bitch and girl like in the first 2 minutes when I met him.
It's always when he does the shoulder.
Okay, look, okay. He'll be the first one to be in the wig. He'll be the first one put a blanket on, bitch twirling around and shit like that. Yeah. But outside of what he show us, when he out at the bar, he just watching. He's quiet. He's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's just something freeing of not having to identify as masculine or feminine and just being.
Yes, absolutely.
If you perceive it as masculine or feminine, that's on you. I don't know what it is I'm doing. I'm just doing. And kind of getting out of your head, because like you said, like I think sometimes, especially in gay culture, we stereotype what masculine is, that it's going to be this muscle-bound man, it's going to be this furry human being, whatever it may be. And I've learned that the most masculine person could be what we sometimes present as a feminine thing. As long as you're living in your truth and you're just a stand-up human being, to me, that's masculine. To me, that's feminine. To me, like, that's just, you know... And like, I think we need to flip some of that on its head. And for the longest, I mean, for me, like, and I can't remember if I shared this on the podcast a few weeks ago, but it was cool for me, even I went back to Purdue to tailgate with a lot of my straight friends that I made when I first started my career. And it was cool, because it was the first time I was back in that greater collective like that, in that environment, out. And also one of their fraternity brothers being out and his husband being there as well, tailgating. And so to kind of bring a fuller version of myself to a tailgating situation in middle Indiana, white America in itself too, was so cool to me, because it had just kind of shown to me how far I've kind of come since the last time I was there, which was probably like over 12, 13 years ago, where I was still kind of like figuring myself out. And to go back into that environment and mixing this stereotypical kind of masculinity of a football game and a tailgating situation and things like that, but then hearing music on the song and being like, you know, and bringing a fuller picture of myself and not being afraid that at least my friend group would be like, Bro, what you doing, bro?
What you doing? Hey, cut that out. You know, like,
I love.
Exactly. And
there is something really.
You still see that love from them. That kind of breaks down a lot of that shit when you're just like, okay, this masculine, feminine thing. Once they still give you the love because they like, you know what, we fuck with Carell, period. That breaks down a lot of that stuff that you kind of carry along with your life. And still to be at 38 to still kind of getting those lessons has been very cool for me.
I love going back home to the Midwest and being as gay as I can, walking through the Target aisles and just like, you know, sashaying and picking something. Ooh, this is cute. Okay, I might have to put this in my little red basket. And dare somebody to say something like that. Like, when I think about the journey that I know that we all have had coming from, you know, the Midwest and trying to find acceptance in ourselves and how we are just authentically, naturally, however, like that is such a full circle, like gratifying moment to just be like, I'm going to be in Maple Heights, Ohio at the Kroger's and squeezing some peaches and just
looking at the eggplants.
I'm gonna make some pie with this. Like, just giving it, serving it, looking cute. Like,
yeah. And I think it's going to always be a life journey. You just don't know what's going to trigger sometimes. You don't know which environments that you haven't maybe confronted yourself with yet. So for me, like, that's why I brought the tailgate one up, because I was like, God, I haven't tailgated with this crew in so long. This is going to be interesting to be back in this environment. That's very familiar, but we've all gotten older, we've all grown, and there's this aspect of finally being out and comfortable in that environment that I hadn't put myself in yet, honestly, because I haven't tailgated like that in forever, you know. So it was very cool.
Just don't beat yourself up. Like, I mean, you're going through some growing pains, and however that's manifesting for you, you know, you'll find the right path for you. You'll find that, you know, some of the antics that, you know, you tried don't work, or again, they're not sustainable, or, you know, they're attracting the wrong kind of people or whatever. You'll figure it out. But, you know, don't beat yourself up for, you know, like acting more or leaning, I would just say leaning more into your masculinity or whatever. You know, I would just hope that through whatever this moment of self-discovery and self-realization you're having, that you would take the moment just to acknowledge who you are and just start to appreciate like how you're naturally wired, however that ends up being manifested, however it is you express yourself. And, you know, if that turns some people off, it's, listen, even if you didn't mask it up, there are going to be things about you that's going to turn a whole lot of people off. It's just, it's the nature of the game. And eventually you'll find, you know, people, a person, whatever, you know, that can appreciate you for exactly who you are and however it is that you show up. So,
especially in a dating scene, if you get that vibe from the first date, Ron, get you another scene, because
plenty of fish.
Don't let them tell you that you're too femme or too mask or whatever in the first date. That ain't cool.
I've literally had someone tell me on the first date I was too nice, and I said,
"Wait, too nice?
Too nice?" I was like, I was like, damn, are you okay?
You should have said, well, get me to date number 2 so I'll show you how mean I really am.
I said, what you been through? Like,
you're like, have you seen these scabs on my knuckles?
And that's my thing too. And I was like, but I fight. What you mean? I'm too nice?
This hyperpigmentation.
I was like, I was scared for myself. I was like, what your exes look like?
Must have been all Scorpios.
Girl.
Sorry, y'all.
But that was a good question. So continue to see your questions to ask your auntie's questions to AYA at Minority Report.
Girl, one of these days you're going to get it right.
I'm not. In 2022, I gave up.
Yeah.
We'll start to do in 2023.
Just flash a little graphic on the screen.
Yeah.
you need like a little thing, one of the little church fans with the sign on it that says, send it here.
Right.
Like in the Looney Tunes, when in the cartoons like this.
So true. It is so true. So we kind of hinted to the Elon Musk Twitter thing. Here's the thing: like they're saying that a lot of the tweets that were coming out were from like trolling, which I agree. But here's what a lot of these articles aren't saying: that for the trolls and the people and the countries behind it, knowing the perception of an Elon Musk, knowing to get away with it, you know, if like say, I'm trying to think of a name, say Jay-Z bought Twitter, you probably wouldn't see the same trolling situation. Well, maybe you would, I don't know, because it's a black man, but you know, so that to me tells me something about Elon Musk, that people are comfortable to even put these trolling situations on him, because they're like, oh, we know Elon Musk is probably wanting to have people be able to say whatever they want to, and we're just going to start these campaigns. So to be surprised at the percentage of the N-word going up on Twitter with him taking it over is not surprising to me, one way or the other, whether it be trolls or whether it be real people. They knew they could get away with it with a person like an Elon Musk. So it's just going to be interesting what Twitter turns into.
Yeah.
How many people end up leaving Twitter?
Yeah.
And what comes from it? What platform, what social media is coming on the horizon due to this shift of Twitter?
Twitter is a huge e-commerce brand awareness platform. Like I get, you know, like there's a lot of like movement and activation through what's the other one? TikTok. Yeah. But yeah, it's just, I literally just had a conversation with our social media team today about some D&I stuff and the posts that we're making, the social posts, and like Twitter's like #1. So it'll be interesting if Twitter number one, this is good news for Facebook and Instagram because if Twitter continues to, to go down, that will just force people to find another outlet, which, they're going to most likely fall back on things that have already been out there for a while that they already have accounts with that they can continue to activate. But it does make me a little nervous. He fired almost the entire executive team.
Yeah.
So he cleaned house. He fired I think there was speculation he's going to be cleaning house of mid-level management as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much fluff within payroll or whatever that some of these decisions are being made, or if the intention is to bring in new people. But I can't imagine what it must be like for somebody who's currently working for Twitter in this kind of environment. Like, you hear of like toxic culture environment, but like to have somebody buy your company that you get a paycheck from and basically like treat it like, one of their bedroom toys. Yeah. And that's got to be really scary. So my heart goes out to the people that work for them. Yeah. Well, and let's be clear, Tesla does not have, an A+ rating, doesn't even have a C+ rating as it relates to, race relations. I mean, they've been sued many times by former Black employees. So, this will be interesting to see how this thing plays itself out for sure.
Yeah. I'm not on Twitter like that, so a lot of this conversation for me, I'm just like, I didn't care less. I mean, as long as I still get to use my hidden Twitter account for personal reasons, that's the only thing I use it for. Like, porn, please. Like, literally, I don't check for anything else. I don't use Twitter for nothing else, honestly, because by the time I'm hearing something, it's already made its way to like someone's reel on TikTok or Instagram or on someone's Instagram story, and I've heard about it and I've seen it, even if it's just like a screenshot of someone's tweet from Twitter. Like it automatically gets passed around all the social media platforms.
Yeah, Twitter's still the one that like be finding out shit first.
It's the first.
They really do.
But yeah, so I mean, don't waste your time trying to get in these fights with these trolls on Twitter. It ain't worth the energy. Like, there's nothing you gain from it because it takes on a life of its own.
Well, and they want the engagement. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They want like you were making the comment about Takeoff's passing and people sharing the video. It's like people do that stuff they do that stuff because they want the attention. Yeah. They want the likes, they want the follows, they want the engagement. So, and even like people that share things that are like disturbing and be like, oh, if you guys haven't seen this, don't watch this and but you're sharing it. So now you're amplifying the message for these other people that are doing the wrong things. And it's not cool. So stay away.
Some of us are born with the spirit of mess, and so they thrive on things like that. I had to unlearn how to be a part of that lifestyle. But some people got time and some people got too much time on their hands, and that's when it become too dangerous. Right. And I would love to see the downfall of something like this that allows people who have too much time on their hands to have a bigger voice, or to have a bigger platform. The downfalls of like Twitter, I feel personally would help a lot with this trolling things that we talk about. All these trolls behind the keyboard that want to talk like they speaking out with their whole chest up, but you see them in public, they ain't gonna say shit. I'm very much still old school. I'm not gonna never say nothing online that would never say to your face. But a lot of people these days feel like you can say whatever you want to online and act like there won't be any consequences from what you say online. I don't know where that etiquette has gone out the window, but a downfall of something to Twitter would help remind people of that.
Yeah. And then we'll kind of end on this. Another reason why voting is so important, especially now, because you don't know what the long-term play is going to be. The biggest case to end this year and going into 2023 is an affirmative action case at the Supreme Court. And it's sounding like they are going to reverse affirmative action as well. Um, it's been interesting to read some of the justification that some of the justices are having, because a lot of the against affirmative action saying, when does it end? When do you say there's enough diversity and things like that? Which, okay, I get the question of it. However, what I haven't seen in a lot of this questioning is them knowing and seeing the history of, do folks actually act right when you don't have bumper rails and guardrails in place and laws in place and rules in place. We've seen it time and time in this country that white folks do, and this is not all, but for the most part, are not still doing the right thing to warrant diversity to be in their places. They find ways to still segregate the situation. And that's what's so scary about taking affirmative action away. And I think we've had a conversation, I don't know how many episodes at this point, it might be 100 episodes. Hey, stunt! About affirmative action before. But again, it's just like, you take it away, and a lot of the country still ran by white folks. They are still not checking for black and brown folks. They're not checking for the LGBTQIA plus communities. And so I know this particular case was actually brought up by the Asian American community, because they were feeling that they weren't getting the placements that they need because of affirmative action and things like that. But at the end of the day, they ain't gonna check for you either. and that's the thing that, like, I don't think some folks realize, that it just takes these guardrails off, and we're gonna have to literally in 20, 30 years again come up with some other variation of it to say, you know what, we saw the trends decline of having folks in universities, having folks at the Harvards of the world, having folks at the Dukes of the world, after we took this affirmative action away. So that's the piece that kind of scares me, just reading some of these articles, where I'm like, you ain't proving to me that y'all white folks are going to act right. Where's that at in this conversation?
I also got some smoke for the Democratic Party, because ain't no way we should be at risk for all of these, these legislative measures that should have been ratified 20, 30, 40 years ago. Like, I'm sorry. It's so frustrating. I'm not trying to diminish or take away from the importance of the topic, but it is frustrating when, like, every 4 years we got to come up with something that should have been, that we took for granted was added as an amendment to our Constitution. It wasn't. And now it's at risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we preach the voting, this is why we preach it, because it starts at the local levels, and then these folks move up into these ranks that have gotten voted in by folks that ain't checking for us, and then they stay in these ranks and continue to move up, and then get appointed to Supreme Courts and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to play the long play. It's the long game in this shit. Vote now in your local communities, folks that are checking for your community, so they get the experience, so they get the exposure to move up in the ranks, to have this diversity that affirmative action is going to now be taken away, that we might not have anymore. So pay attention, stay tuned to this shit, because especially if this vote and they get the House and the Senate, we ain't gonna get shit through for the next 2 years, and then we back at square one again. So, it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating.
Well, I don't want to end on that note. I want to end on a positive note, because we done talked about politics twice, and I refuse to leave this episode with that being the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I got a Black excellence, and I want to give a shout out to Starr Andrews, who made history as the first Black U.S. figure skater to ever win a medal at a Grand Prix level this past weekend in Canada. Okay. She took second place, and she's the first Black U.S. figure skater to ever get an individual medal.
There we go.
She killed it. She also is battling like some type of like heart disease or something like that too. She has an illness that also like makes it harder for her to compete as well too. And she's still out there, you know, studying on these hoes.
Doing it.
So yeah.
And I know Debbie Thomas from the 80s is proud because
I know, right? Yeah, absolutely.
The bang. The bang.
Yeah,
like
so shout out to her.
Katarina Vent.
Yeah, but I go on YouTube and watch it. It was a beautiful free skate that she did, and she was out here just bitch, triple toe and just all sorts of shit. I was like, come on, black girl. I said, you better work. And the thing is too, like, she looks like the classic figure skater that she's not a power figure skater. She has like that more like ballerina and that artistic. Yes. So it was just beautiful, but you can see that she has the power by her actual program that she skated too. Mm-hmm. So I was like, ooh, bitch. Ooh, bitch.
I'm gonna check it out. I missed it. Mm-hmm. I love me some figure skating. So
yes.
I used to be twirling in the house and trying to do them little jumps. Trying to do them little jumps at the crib. You know?
Bust your leg on the end table.
They should have known. They probably did know. And that's a play in the masculinity and femininity here for all day.
Boom. All my life.
All right, ladies. Well, we'll get on out of here. Vote. See you next week. Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.